They say nurses save lives every single day, but what happens when saving a life destroys everything else? Chicago's Mercy Heights Hospital buzzed like a restless hive under the bright city lights, sirens, cold hallways, exhausted staff barely holding themselves together. Among them was Rebecca Carter, a compassionate 38-year-old single mother, who believed every patient deserved a second chance. She wore her caring heart like armor, but deep inside, she was drowning in pressure. Medical bills for her daughter's heart condition were piling up. Her paycheck couldn't keep up. Every shift felt like a battlefield where she couldn't afford to lose. Tonight would be different. It was just past midnight when emergency doors burst open. Paramedics rushed in two critical patients. Same age, same injury, same blood type. Chaos erupted. The ER was short-staffed. Charts were swapped. Names blurred. Rebecca sprinted into action. She grabbed the first chart she saw. James Walker, a corporate investor. Unconscious, bleeding heavily, pulse fading fast. "This one goes first," the doctor barked. Rebecca didn't hesitate. She fought for his life. Compressions, injections, stitches, orders shouted over alarms. After 42 breathless minutes, the heart monitor steadied. She'd done it. She'd saved him. Everyone cheered. Rebecca smiled through tears of relief. But then, a scream from the next bed. The other patient, Michael Reed, a young high school teacher, flatlined. Rebecca froze, horror slicing through her chest. Because in the confusion, Michael had been the priority patient. He should have been saved first. He had a newborn child waiting at home. And Rebecca had chosen the wrong man. A mistake in a place where mistakes are forbidden. Her hands, created to heal, had just cost an innocent life. And this was only the beginning of the nightmare. The hallway outside the ER felt like a silent courtroom. Rebecca stood there with trembling hands, staring at the door where Michael Reed's lifeless body lay. Her heart pounded like a guilty drum. Nurses whispered. A doctor avoided her eyes. The weight of a single wrong decision pressed on her chest like 1,000 bricks. Her phone buzzed. Her daughter, Emily, sent a voice message. "Night, Mom. Can't wait for you to come home. I love you." Rebecca's throat tightened. She saved lives for a living, yet she couldn't save all. And one mistake, just one, could ruin everything. Then came the sound she feared most, crying. A woman, Amanda Reed, Michael's wife, burst into the ER, clutching a baby wrapped in a soft blue blanket. Her eyes searched the room desperately. "Where's my husband? Michael was brought here. Please tell me he's okay," she cried. Silence. A nurse gently led her to a chair. Rebecca's stomach twisted violently. She wanted to speak, to explain, anything. But how do you tell a wife that her husband died because his chart was mixed up? Because time slipped? Because of you? Amanda's sobs echoed through the corridor like breaking glass. "He promised he'd be home to tuck in the baby," she whispered. Rebecca felt her soul shatter. Soon, hospital administrators crowded in, stern faces, eyes cold like judgment. Dr. Stephen Harris, the medical director, pulled Rebecca aside. "We need your incident report." "Immediately," he said, voice sharp. Rebecca nodded with shaky hands. But as she headed toward her station, she noticed something strange, security rushing toward the recovery room. A heated voice erupted. "I want answers. Someone tell me what really happened here." Rebecca's heart jolted. The man she saved, James Walker, was awake, and he was very angry.
James Walker's voice thundered through the recovery room, rattling Rebecca's nerves before she even stepped inside. She hesitated at the curtain, clutching her report like a fragile shield. "Sir, please calm down," a young nurse pleaded. James shoved the tray off his bedside table, metal and glass clattering to the floor. His face, pale from trauma, was twisted with rage. He spotted Rebecca and pointed at her as if she were the root of all his suffering. "You," he snapped. "I shouldn't be here. Why was I saved first?" Rebecca froze. His question was a knife, sharp, accusing, dangerous. James continued, "There was another guy next to me. The paramedic said he had a kid. A family. I heard them." His voice cracked. "Why am I alive? I'm not a good person." Rebecca forced a professional tone. "Mr. Walker, you're still recovering. Please. Don't sugarcoat it, James barked. You saved the wrong man. Didn't you? The room went silent. The truth trembled behind Rebecca's lips. But admitting it out loud would end her career. James leaned forward, lowering his voice, eyes sharp with guilt and fear. If his family finds out the truth, they'll destroy you. And I'll help them. Rebecca swallowed hard. Please rest. We can discuss this with administration later. James scoffed, but then, his anger faded into a darker expression, something like dread. You don't understand, he whispered. People are looking for me. Dangerous people. If they think I talked, if they think I survived, his breath quickened. I wasn't supposed to make it out of that car. Rebecca blinked. What do you mean? James stared at her with haunted eyes. Saving my life may have just put yours in danger. Rebecca's blood ran cold. Her mistake wasn't just tragic. It was deadly. Rebecca's knees weakened as James's warning echoed in her mind. Dangerous people, not supposed to survive. How could a patient she fought to save suddenly become a threat? Before she could ask more, security rushed in. Their presence wasn't routine, it was protection. Mr. Walker, we need to relocate you to a secure room, one officer said firmly. James's expression darkened. It's too late. They already know. Rebecca stepped back, feeling a chill crawl up her spine. Who knows? One guard asked. James didn't answer. Instead, he turned to Rebecca, eyes locked on hers, as if silently begging for help. But then, just as quickly, he looked away. His silence was a warning. Within moments, he was escorted out, leaving Rebecca alone with her spiraling thoughts. She tried returning to her duties, but the incident wouldn't leave her mind. Nurses avoided her. Supervisors hovered near. And somewhere in the background, Amanda Reed's crying still tore through the air. Rebecca found herself staring at her reflection in the medicine room mirror, haunted eyes, guilt smeared across her face like permanent ink. I did the best I could. But her own thoughts didn't believe that. Suddenly, her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated, answered. A distorted voice whispered. You made a mistake tonight. Her heart skipped. Who is this? A short pause, breathing. You saved the wrong man. Fix it. The call cut off. Rebecca stumbled backward, panic overwhelming her. Who were they? What did they want? How could they know? Fear strangled her breath. The hospital's bright lights felt darker. Shadows stretched longer. Every figure passing by looked like a threat. She clutched her chest, whispering to herself. This can't be happening. I just saved a life. But some lives were never meant to be saved. And her nightmare was only beginning. Rebecca rushed toward the staff lounge, her breathing sharp and uneven. She needed a moment. Just one moment to think. But Mercy had abandoned Mercy Heights Hospital tonight. As she reached the end of the hallway, she spotted 3 unfamiliar men stepping out of the elevator, dark suits, rigid posture, eyes scanning every corner like predators searching for prey. They didn't look like family. Or police. They looked like trouble. Rebecca quickly turned away, head low. Are they here for James? Or, for me? Her hands trembled as she pushed into the lounge. Inside, Nurse Olivia, a close friend, noticed immediately. Becca, you look like you've seen a ghost, Olivia said, placing a comforting hand on her arm. Rebecca gulped. I think someone is watching me. I got a scary call, and James, he said dangerous people are after him. Olivia frowned, concern darkening her eyes. Maybe you should talk to the police. I can't, Rebecca whispered. If the truth comes out, they'll fire me. I could lose my license, my health insurance, how will I take care of Emily? Tears welled in her eyes. Before Olivia could respond, the lounge door creaked open slightly, and Rebecca caught sight of one of the suited men peering inside, eyes narrowed directly at her. "Olivia, I have to go," she muttered rapidly. Rebecca slipped out the back exit and hurried into the stairwell. Each step echoed like a countdown. Panic clawed at her throat. Suddenly, footsteps behind her. Fast. Heavy. Intentional. Rebecca stopped breathing. Then she sprinted downward, gripping the rail. She pushed the emergency exit door open, stumbling out into the cold night behind the hospital. The city lights felt miles away. The air stank of danger. Her phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. This time, a text. Tick-tock, Nurse Carter. Rebecca rushed toward the staff lounge, her breathing sharp and uneven. She needed a moment. Just one moment to think. But Mercy had abandoned Mercy Heights Hospital tonight. As she reached the end of the hallway, she spotted 3 unfamiliar men stepping out of the elevator, dark suits, rigid posture, eyes scanning every corner like predators searching for prey. They didn't look like family. Or police. They looked like trouble. Rebecca quickly turned away, head low. Are they here for James? Or, for me? Her hands trembled as she pushed into the lounge. Inside, Nurse Olivia, a close friend, noticed immediately. "Becca, you look like you've seen a ghost," Olivia said, placing a comforting hand on her arm. Rebecca gulped. "I think someone is watching me. I got a scary call, and James, he said dangerous people are after him." Olivia frowned, concern darkening her eyes. "Maybe you should talk to the police." "I can't," Rebecca whispered. "If the truth comes out, they'll fire me. I could lose my license, my health insurance. How will I take care of Emily?" Tears welled in her eyes. Before Olivia could respond, the lounge door creaked open slightly, and Rebecca caught sight of one of the suited men peering inside, eyes narrowed directly at her. "Olivia, I have to go," she muttered rapidly. Rebecca slipped out the back exit and hurried into the stairwell. Each step echoed like a countdown. Panic clawed at her throat. Suddenly, footsteps behind her. Fast. Heavy. Intentional. Rebecca stopped breathing. Then she sprinted downward, gripping the rail. She pushed the emergency exit door open, stumbling out into the cold night behind the hospital. The city lights felt miles away. The air stank of danger. Her phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. This time, a text. Tick-tock, Nurse Carter. Rebecca's heart pounded against her ribs like a frantic alarm. She hurried to her car in the dimly lit staff parking lot, scanning every shadow. The text replayed in her mind like a threat she couldn't outrun. Tick-tock, Nurse Carter. She immediately called her babysitter. "I'm on my way," she breathed, trying to sound calm. "Emily's already asleep," the sitter replied. "Everything okay?" "Yes," Rebecca lied. "Thank you." She hung up fast, panic swelling. If dangerous people were after her, Emily, her sweet, fragile Emily, would be their easiest target. Rebecca sped through Chicago's streets, eyes flicking between the road and her mirrors. It felt like headlights followed her a little too closely, but she couldn't tell if it was paranoia or real danger. When she reached her small apartment building, she rushed upstairs and locked the door behind her. She went straight to Emily's room. There she was, curled up with her little pink heart pillow, breathing softly. Completely unaware that her mother's life was unraveling. Rebecca brushed a hand gently over Emily's hair. "Mommy's right here," she whispered, voice cracking. But peace lasted only a moment. Her living room window rattled. Rebecca spun around. A stone lay on the carpet, wrapped with a piece of paper. Her hands shook as she unwrapped it. A photograph. James Walker. Tied to a chair. Bruised. Terrified. A message written in red marker beneath. You saved him. Now save yourself. Rebecca stumbled back, gasping. Someone had taken him. And they wanted her next. Footsteps sounded in the hallway outside her apartment. Slow. Heavy. Approaching her door. Rebecca grabbed Emily from her bed, clutching her tightly. There was no time to think. She had to run. Because tonight, saving herself might be the only chance her daughter had left. Rebecca held Emily tight as she slipped out the back stairwell of the apartment building. Her hands shook with a mother's terror, a fear stronger than anything she had ever known. The sound of doors opening above echoed like warning shots. Chicago's cold wind slapped her face when she stepped outside, but she didn't stop. She rushed to her car and buckled Emily into the back seat. "Mommy, what's wrong?" Emily asked, rubbing sleepy eyes. "Just a little adventure, sweetheart," Rebecca forced a smile, though her voice trembled. "Stay down and don't look up, okay?" Rebecca started the engine and sped away. Her mind raced just as fast. James was taken. They want me next. This all happened because I saved the wrong life. She dialed Olivia with one shaking hand. "Liv, I'm in trouble. Please, where can I go?" Olivia gasped. "You should come here. My brother's a detective. He can help." A loud bang cut through the call. Metal shrieked. Rebecca lost control of the wheel for a second as a black SUV smashed into her rear bumper, sparks flying across the asphalt. Emily screamed. Rebecca's heart nearly burst from her chest. She slammed the accelerator, swerving through traffic. Another hit. She grabbed the phone, voice breaking. "Olivia, call the police. They're chasing me." The line went dead. She tossed the phone aside, focusing on the road. She couldn't let them catch her. Not with her daughter in the car. Then, up ahead, flashing blue and red lights. Police cruisers blocked the intersection. Rebecca's hopes soared. Thank God. But her relief lasted only a heartbeat. The officers lifted their weapons. Pointed directly at her car. "Rebecca Carter," one officer shouted through a megaphone. "Step out of the vehicle with your hands up." Rebecca froze. Why were they aiming at her? Rebecca's hands flew into the air as Emily cried behind her, tiny fingers gripping the seatbelt in panic. "Please!" Rebecca shouted through the windshield. "My daughter is in the car." The officers exchanged looks, hesitant, unsure. One stepped closer, gun aimed steady. The flashing lights reflected off his badge, casting harsh red streaks across Rebecca's terrified face. "Turn the engine off. Now." With trembling fingers, she obeyed. "What is this?" she yelled. "Why are you pointing guns at me?" The officer closest to her answered coldly. "Rebecca Carter, there's a warrant out for your arrest." Rebecca's breath vanished. "Arrest? For what?" "Murder," he replied. "The murder of Michael Reed." Her heart stopped. "No," she whispered. "That wasn't. I didn't." Another officer pulled open the driver's door and grabbed her wrists. Rebecca tried not to collapse as cold cuffs locked tightly around her arms. "Please don't take my daughter," she begged, tears streaming. "She's all I have." A female officer gently led Emily out of the back seat. "Don't worry, sweetheart. We'll make sure you're safe." Emily's voice cracked as she screamed. "Mommy!" Rebecca's soul splintered. The officers pushed her into the cruiser. The door slammed shut, sealing her inside a nightmare. Her vision blurred with tears as they drove away from her crying child. Murder. They think she killed Michael. But before she could process that horror, another one hit. How did they find that evidence so fast? Who set her up? And what about James? Her phone buzzed in her pocket, still somehow there. One new message. We warned you to fix it. Now you'll pay for your mistake. Rebecca squeezed her eyes shut. She was no longer just a nurse who made a tragic error. She was now the perfect scapegoat in a deadly cover-up. The holding cell smelled like bleach and despair. Rebecca sat on the cold metal bench, arms wrapped around herself as if trying to keep her world from falling apart. The fluorescent lights above flickered, casting shadows that made everything feel more sinister. A door clanged open. Detective Ryan Cooper, a stern man in his mid-40s with calculating eyes, stepped inside holding a thick folder. He sat across from her. Rebecca Carter. ER nurse. Single mother. No criminal record. He paused, then laid a photo in front of her. Michael Reed. A red circle drawn around his wrist. His ID bracelet, Cooper explained. It was removed, and swapped. Rebecca shook her head rapidly. That wasn't me. We found the bracelet in your locker, he cut in coldly. You had motive. Medical stress. Poor judgment. Maybe you thought the investor's life was worth more. Rebecca's stomach twisted. She didn't have to imagine how easily they could make that lie look true. Tears streamed down her face. Please, someone planted that. You have to believe me. Before he could respond, the station suddenly plunged into darkness, lights gone, screens dead. A power outage. Shouting erupted down the hallway. Cooper stood up fast. Stay here. He rushed out, leaving the door unguarded. Rebecca's chest tightened. Something was wrong, very wrong. Footsteps approached. Slow. Intentional. Her breath froze. A man appeared in the faint emergency glow, one of the men from the hospital. His scarred face twisted into a chilling smile as he unlocked the cell door without a word. Rebecca stumbled backward. Who are you? He grabbed her arm with crushing force. We warned you, he growled. You saved the wrong man. Rebecca struggled, terror exploding through her veins. Please, my daughter. He leaned close to her ear. She'll forget you ever existed. Then he dragged her into the shadows as the station descended into full-blown chaos. Rebecca struggled against the man's grip as he dragged her through the emergency exit at the back of the police station. Panic roared through her bloodstream. Let me go, she cried. Not after what you did, he snarled. You saved someone who ruined everything. Just then, headlights blazed, tires screeched. A black sedan cut across their path. Doors flew open. James Walker stumbled out, battered but breathing, hands zip-tied, escorted by another guard who shoved him forward. James looked at Rebecca, guilt pouring from his eyes. Rebecca. I'm sorry. The scarred man shoved him. You were supposed to die in that crash, James. You know too much about our organization. You had one job, keep your mouth shut. Rebecca stared, shaking. What organization? James swallowed hard. Investment fraud, billions laundered. I tried to expose them. They wanted me dead, before I talked. The scarred man raised a gun, pressing it to Rebecca's head. You interfered in business that wasn't yours. Rebecca squeezed her eyes shut, Emily's face flashing through her mind. Suddenly, boom. A shot fired. Rebecca flinched, but it wasn't hers. The attacker stumbled back, groaning before collapsing. Behind him. Detective Cooper. Gun still raised. Backup officers swarmed in, shouting commands. The station lights flickered back on. The nightmare began to dissolve. Later, wrapped in a blanket, Rebecca listened as the truth unfolded. Heavy checkmark James testified that the organization staged the accident. Heavy checkmark Michael's death was twisted into a frame job to silence her. Heavy checkmark evidence from security footage cleared Rebecca completely. Heavy checkmark the criminals were arrested in a multi-state sting operation. But even with justice served, Rebecca's heart ached knowing Michael Reed's family still lost everything. Days later, she visited Amanda Reed, baby in arms. Tears flowed freely as forgiveness began its slow, painful journey. Rebecca held Emily close. A single mistake had almost destroyed her life. But in saving the wrong man, she saved countless others. And in the end, the nurse who saved the wrong patient became the nurse who saved the truth.